Chapter 6, recommendations in the report, page 55, you advise that you recommend that the legislature should not try to impose any restrictive legislation, First Amendment issues.
Right.
I saw the report from the industry indicating all of the losses in appeals court on the topic and all over the country. The first recommendation indicates that the task force indicated that we should create a publicly funded consumer education program on video and computer games. Would it be possible for the legislature to sort of move away from public funding and enact legislation to capture a percentage of the sales of these games to help fund this program? Maybe like 5% of the purchases to go towards funding a program? That's not
I really haven't thought about that. I would think that would have to be carefully considered, because it could be, see, you're not capturing 5% of violent books, you're not taking 5% of violent movies, but you are taking 5% of
a certain product.
Yeah, and I would think that would have a problem too.
Equal protection issues.
Right.
I think in the statutes we looked at, we didn't see anything as creative.
That's right.
That's
right. And equal protection, I don't think it's directly an equal protection. It might be more of an interstate commerce. Because the things that are equally protected are different kinds of people, not different products. But also the advisory committee, their own position was that you should not do something you should treat all kinds of media equally, probably more as an element of fairness and as necessarily as a constitutional issue. But I think it would also, it's likely to raise a constitutional question as well.
Representative Sanders.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question, but first a comment. There's something in your testimony. I know in a couple of places you talked about motor skills, problem solving, how video games can have some positive effects in the lives of children. But there's one sentence where you say violent video games can have positive effects as well as negative ones. I strongly object to that sentence. The previous testimony that has been submitted today, talking about gratuitous violence, violence against police officers, there are so many video game options out there. Video games that encourage exploration, video games that might be a race car, or video games that might involve history or problem solving or networking with other children. So many positive video games. I don't think we should say that violent video games can have positive effects. I would say we can live without those. I do agree with your statement that parents are the first line of defense, and parents have to be involved in what their children are doing, what their children are watching. My question goes to, I know you're talking about First Amendment issues and the difficulty in enacting legislation because of court challenges. Did the research of the Commission look into the ownership of the companies that are making these violent video games, and whether or not there are public dollars involved? I'm thinking of 2 years ago the legislature passed a film tax credit. And before, in our free society, films have been made in Pennsylvania for decades and decades and decades, but now there's a public tax dollars, a public tax credit involved. And I believe that leads to a higher level of scrutiny of which movies and which kinds of videos are being made with the public benefit of tax credit. Do any of these companies, some of them might be media conglomerates, do any of the companies that make these violent video games benefit benefit from any public dollars in Pennsylvania or public tax grants in Pennsylvania?
Mike, the honest answer is we didn't look into it. As far as your other comment, the reason that statement about violent video games contribute to motor skills, etc., the reason that's restricted to violent video games is because that is what we were tasked to study. It doesn't, we didn't try to have an implication that doesn't apply to all kinds of video games, including ones that have no violent content whatsoever. I should think that those positive effects would also be true of similar games. So like Guitar Hero would also definitely improve motor skills.